Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm John, and welcome to another episode of Collecting Dust, my show, aside from my other show, The Nothing Podcast, with nobody important. And because this week we had on Jason Bischoff, who is the director of global licensing at Funko, I thought we would talk about some Funko Pops, which I have a great many of, and I know a lot of you have a great many of them as well. I have so many that it was kind of hard for me to figure out which ones to talk about. And even as we do this, I might go grab some others that are just catching my eye right now as we talk about it. But we'll go into them. And I'm going to start peppering Pops into other things, as you'll see in some other episodes coming up as well. So what I wanted to do was talk about some of the Funkos that stand out, the pop figures that stand out to me, and then we'll see where we go from there. So right off the bat, I'll show you one of my oldest, which is actually not that old, but here it's Tails, Miles Tails Prower from Sonic the Hedgehog. This was it wasn't a limited run. It was out there, but it was retired pretty quickly. A lot of people don't know this, but Pops retire like Beanie Babies used to retire. So they're out there for however much time they're out there, and they're gone. If you can't find them, you can't find them. So, Tails, this whole Sonic set, they've come out with now another Sonic set since then. This one is sort of rare, and he has this shine to him. I don't know why. He's made from a different material. I love him, right? So, the thing is, I didn't buy anybody else from this set, and then to come to find out that Tails is probably one of the most valuable Pops I have. I think he's a little over the $100 range, out of box, which is weird because he retired so quickly. I have a number of those. Squidward is another one, and I'll show you another one in a little bit. But so Tails, love him. It's the only Sonic one I have, but I love him. I will show you these. I go to Comic-Con. Everybody knows I go to Comic-Con every year. And when I'm there, I like to find some Pops that I couldn't find throughout the year. I came across some... What's the order in which I did this? So we went to Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, and I found two Pops online on eBay that I didn't know existed from the year before, exclusive to Toy Tokyo. So what happens at Comic-Con is that they have Funko exclusives, and then Funko has a couple of exclusives peppered throughout other booths. So Toy Tokyo is one, and they tend to be the hardest ones to find because you can't line up when you're there. I don't even know how people do it. So you got to get them online. So I found them the next year. I found these from Space Ghost. So this is Brak and Zorak from Space Ghost. As you can see, Zorak has a very specific body mold, completely different than any other Pop I had seen at the time. What I did was I found them at Comic-Con the year later, Toy Tokyo exclusive. I paid $60 a piece for them, which seems like a lot because it is a lot. Now, look for them on eBay now. They're cheaper than that. Way cheaper than that. So I don't know what happened there. Listen, as a collector, you win some, you lose some, right? They got way cheaper. But they're very cool. And then once I had them, of course I had to get Space Ghost, who is not rare. Space Ghost was a mass market exclusive, which is weird. I bought him then after I had them already. I bought it for $10 on Amazon. But so this makes a complete set. It's just very cool to have them. I loved these characters growing up. And I thought it was very, very cool to have just like the rare exclusive versions of them. So I had to pick them up. Okay. So before I get to these next ones, I want to take you over to the Pop shelf. So I'm not going to pull them down. I'm going to turn the light on for a second. I'm not going to pull them out. But if you'll come down here, not you, Ghost in the Jar, you'll see here that I have the flocked, which means they're furry. They have a little fuzz on them, of the Fraggle Rock characters. I have all of them that are available. What happened was I was never the biggest fan of Fraggle Rock. but it's a Henson property, right? So I knew I had to get them. And they were sold individually, but I found on Funko Shop, which on Funko Shop, things become available on there that you have to get them the moment they go on or they're gone. They had a set of all the Fraggles, flocked, fuzzy, and you could buy them all at once. And I said, okay, I wasn't going to get the Fraggles individually, but I'll get them that way. So I got them all. Each Fraggle individually, when you bought them, came with a doozer. As to not miss out on the doozers, I ordered these doozers individually on eBay because they did not come with the set. And then back there, I have a couple of the other Fraggle stuff, which was like Toys R Us exclusive, and Pop has a... Actually, I'll show you this way. So, going now into my next group of my favorites is the Sesame Street Pops. I have pretty much everyone. I do have everyone. I mean, there are flocked versions of everyone that I do not have, but I have everyone in the set. There are 3 that I love that are a little cooler and like a little more random. I'll start with this one, which is the story that I was going to tell. So this is Harry Monster. We love Harry Monster, but he's a little bit more of a random character than, say, an Elmo. And Harry Monster is a part of what Funko calls the specialty series. So the specialty series, they'll have things that are exclusive to Target, exclusive to Walmart, exclusive to Toys R Us when it was Toys R Us at the time. The specialty series is exclusive to non-chain stores. So you can only get specialty series stuff at like your local comic store, at your mom and pop shop down the block. Like, they kind of try to keep it fair so that it's not all mass market. They sell stuff to just little ones. So Harry Monster was part of the specialty series, and I watched his release date like a hawk. I got him the day he came out. I found him at my local comic shop, and I love him. The next one is, this is an entertainmentearth.com exclusive, and this is Orange Oscar the Grouch. For those of you who do not know, which is likely all, if not most of you, Oscar was Orange for season 1 of Sesame Street. This is before he was green. They decided he should be orange, and then in season 2, they switched over to the green puppet. But the fact that they made an orange Oscar pop, I thought it was so cool. So I picked it up right away. And I think, if I can tell you, yes, his sign is different. This one says go away, and the green Oscar says scram. So that's cool too. But just the fact that there's an orange Oscar is fantastic. I do wish there was a green Grover. Grover was also green in his first appearance. He doesn't appear anywhere. I think there's maybe a plush green Grover that I've looked for that I haven't gotten. And the last one here is Mr. Snuffleupagus, who is my favorite Sesame Street character. He's humongous. He's great. He was one of the first 10-inch pops, which are part of this bigger series. And I don't know where the flocked Snuffy was exclusive to. He was exclusive, but for the life of me, I can't remember to where. But I knew that this was definitely the one I was going to have. There's always been a part of me that's also wanted the standard plastic Snuffy, just because I love the character so much, and I think it is a very different kind of feel, but I love that he's this way. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot we can talk about as far as Pops, and we will. But you should start out by listening to this week's past episode, or if you're watching this in June, listen to the episode with Jason Bischoff of Funko, because you'll start to get an idea as to why these things mean so much to so many people. So, yeah, that's that. Let us go take a look at a movie and some of the ones that I have in the living room. All right, so as I do this, I realize there's a lot of exclusive Pops I have. We can't get into all the Pops. There's going to be a lot, because I have a lot of really cool ones that mean a lot. But just while I'm in here, before we get into the movie, these are 2 of the most valuable Pops that Danielle and I have. Renly Baratheon is mine. In box, I don't know, he can run for $130 or so. Out of box, it's less. Not that much less, but less. And this is Daenerys with the red dragon, which there's been some conflicting reports, but we believe to be the rarest of the original Daenerys Pops. When we looked it up the first time, she was worth a lot, and then I looked it up recently, and she wasn't worth as much. I don't know why, but it goes back and forth. You know, it depends on the market. So these are two that I would have added when I was inside, but they live here with the movies. I'll keep you posted. A lot of our Game of Thrones Pops, almost all of them are Danielle's, and she's had them since set 1 of Game of Thrones. So those will only continue to grow in value. That's why Daenerys with the red dragon is worth more than Daenerys with the green dragon. And it fluctuates, like I said. Sometimes the green dragon one's worth more. So that's just a side. The movie I want to show you today is something really cool. You know, it's hard to tie in movies and pop figures, because pop figures are basically movies, right? So I have a collector's set of movies that Danielle and I actually just finished watching. And I do have the pop set for this movie, which you can see here. And it is, of course, Die Hard. And with that Die Hard is this, which is the Nakatomi Tower collection. It's all 5 Die Hard films, and you might say to yourself, where is the movie? Where does the movie live in this replica tower of Nakatomi Plaza? The answer is here, right inside. We'll pull it out after having, again, just literally put it away yesterday. Here, it's the Nakatomi Plaza Die Hard collection. And in here we have all the movies, which I will show you. Of course, Die Hard 1, which is, we decided the best. And then we have, of course, Die Hard 2, 3, 4, 5, and a bonus disc. The order in which we decided, the definitive order is Die Hard. In order of best film is 1, 3, 4, 2, 5. And if you were asking me, the bonus disc that comes in here might rank higher than 5. Honestly, Die Hard 5 is one of the worst movies I'd ever seen when I saw it in theaters, and it held up. Held up as one of the worst. This collection also comes with these really cool things. Sometimes I'll buy collector's sets because of really cool stuff like this. So these are villain cards. They have kind of police reports on the back for each of the villains. Colonel Stewart. Everybody remembers Colonel Stewart for working out naked in the beginning of the movie, and that's it. Simon Gruber, spoiler alert. And there's his. Of course, Thomas Gabriel. Who could forget Thomas Gabriel? Yeah. And Yuri Komarov. Of course, who could remember Yuri Komarov? Literally no one. So, and it's got a book of trivia, which is, as I found reading through it, a lot of stuff that I already knew. But, you know, they got to pack something in it. Really, it was for the replica of the tower. And I love it. And when I was putting together this movie room, I found that it was hard to find shelving that was even in size all the way across the board. And so what I did was, I'll show you. Hello. This tower happens to even out, more or less, this shelf. So we built it where I said, okay, all the shelves are even. This one's shorter, but I'll put the tower there, and it evens it all out. See how that works? Great. See you next week.